Hi, thanks for watching Talk Local on Rogers TV. If you can, imagine being in that transitional phase between child and adulthood. We legally become adults at the age of 18, but so many of us have or had the opportunity to rely on our parents or guardians for financial aid, emotional support, love, and care. There are over 8,000 children and youth in care in the province of Ontario, and right now when youth turns 21, that's it. The care officially ends, and really, in reality, it can end even sooner than that. Later on this hour, we'll watch a very inspirational video that depicts just that, some of the loneliness and isolation, as well as the hope and inspiration. Before we speak with local youth with lived experience, though, let's go to Sarah Manette.
Family and Children's Services of Waterloo Region and a group of young adults they serve have started a campaign in hopes of gaining a brighter future.
We attended the Youth in Care hearings at Queen's Park and were inspired by what was going on and by what other kids in foster care were saying. And our own youth decided that they too wanted to add their voices to the campaign. After coming home from the hearings, we decided to let our kids have the chance to speak out about their thoughts on the topic as well, which led us to the making of the video, the Youth Leaving Care video.
As it stands now, youth are cut off from emotional and financial support at age 21. Through this campaign, Family and Children's Services, along with the youth they serve, are hoping to extend the age to 25.
Once you turn 21, you're no longer affiliated with us. So our youth that are turning 21 are asking the province and asking us to help them change the age of leaving care from 21 to age 25. ECM is extended care and maintenance. So youth between the ages of 18 and 21, if they're involved in some kind of program, day program, trying to finish high school, trying to get into college, going to university, then they receive just over $800 a month from the agency to help support their living situation. So what we're asking for is that to continue to the age of 25 if the youth is in post-secondary education of some sort.
These young people lack the support system other youth have, and changes to the current foster care system would allow them to concentrate on something other than the bare essentials to live.
Lots of our youth don't have a connection. They don't have family. They don't have people in their lives to support them, to call when they need help, to lend them some money, to bring them some food, to have a place to go when it's Christmas break at school. So that's one of the differences between our youth and a regular youth. And so our youth are saying, you know, we're midway through post-secondary education at age 21. We want to focus on education. We want to get our education. And if we don't continue to have support, then the focus is more on having a job and being able to pay your rent and being able to put food on the table. That becomes the focus instead of the educational piece.
Sarah Murphy with Family and Children's Services says if these youth are given the support they need to make it through post-secondary education, they will be able to become contributing members of the society, giving back to their community.
Instead of supporting them through social assistance, it's giving them a way to be more successful. We all know that education is the way to break the cycle of many of the things that our youth are faced with. And so we really want to encourage them to pursue post-secondary education, and by allowing them to finish it, we are giving them the tools they need to give back to the community, to be successful, to have jobs, to be able to sustain themselves without the help of the government.
In Kitchener, I'm Sarah Manette for Talk Local.
And in studio with us now we have Alison Scott, the Executive Director of Family and Children's Services, Waterloo Region. Alison, welcome. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Well, it's our pleasure. As we mentioned off the top, we will actually watch that video a little bit later on, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But firstly, I wanted to talk about some of the Youth Leaving Care key messages. So first off, what is needed here?
Well, you know, I think you've heard from Sarah, and our kids need a chance to be like any other kid. They really need to be able to focus on their education, get the supports that they need, not focusing on survival. Mm-hmm. So when you think of some of the kids that we serve, they've already overcome a lot of challenges to get to where they are, and they can live in a foster home until they're 18. But at the point that they're 18, although they may receive some financial assistance, they're really faced with decisions about needing to move away from their foster home. They may not have other family to go to. They may not have other friends. So when you're thinking of embarking on post-secondary education, when you layer that in with, oh, and now I have to find a place to live, and now I have to get a job to support me, and I don't know who's going to be there for me when I really have to dig deep. Sometimes kids will shy away from that very difficult decision to move on to post-secondary education.
Well, sure, and it's scary enough for, you know, the average kid with the two families and or two parents in the family, right? So it's such a difficult decision and lifestyle for anyone to make that choice, right? So here it's just compounded.
That's absolutely right. And when you think about it, I mean, first and foremost, you know, what you really want to have is opportunities for kids not to come into care at all, and for most kids to be raised in their own families with their own support, so that as they grow up, they've got a really good family community around them and lots of other emotional supports. Well, for our kids, that's more of a significant challenge. So till they're 25, till they're at least finished university, we're advocating, and our kids are advocating for opportunities to be able to get the financial security, to be able to say you can go, you can get your education, you can help come out of all of the difficulties that you have overcome to get you this far, and we're going to do everything we can to support you into a healthy adulthood. Every kid should have that opportunity.
Yeah, because as of right now, so out of foster care at 18, sorry, and then 21, there's still a little bit of help given until you're 21, right? And then after that, it's nothing.
21, you're basically, all government assistance is basically cut off through Family and Children's Services.
Okay.
Some kids may have OSAP, they may survive on loans, they may survive on jobs, but really what we're trying to support is continued government funding through the Ministry of Children and Youth Services to pay for these kids to be able to stay in a foster family, stay with another family, live on their own independently, but to make sure that that financial bridge till they're finished school is met. So, you know, 18, you've got a family that you can live with. Between 18 and 21, you really have some financial support, you have some emotional support from our staff, but they're staff. And then at 21, all of that goes. So that's not fair. We really want to be able to extend that to 25 for kids. And, you know, ideally, then these kids can go on and raise their own kids, and, you know, they'll have a more promising future. And we want our kids to have what everybody else has.
Okay, of course. We're going to continue on with this conversation. We do need to take a quick break. Allison Scott is in studio with us. She's the Executive Director of Family and Children's Children's Services, Waterloo Region. We are going to later on this hour play a YouTube video, already received thousands of hits about this issue as well. And we are also going to speak with Children's Services worker as well about some of the work that she does, and we'll talk to a couple of youth with lived experience as well. We'll be back right after this. Hi, welcome back. Thanks for watching Talk Local. We are talking about youth leaving care. Allison Scott, the Executive Director of Family and Children's Services Waterloo Region, still in studio with us. Allison, we went over some of those key messages, so let's talk a little bit more in depth. What's working here and what really needs to be changed?
Sure. I really have a lot of hope because I think our provincial government has made a lot of gains in the last few years to kind of recognize the scope of this problem that our kids are facing, and they've introduced new financial supports to be able to help them. We just want to push them a little bit further and just keep letting them understand the true depth of it. But you know, in our community in Waterloo Region, we're so lucky because Family and Children's Services has a community foundation, and each year that foundation's been able to raise money to give scholarships to Crown wards who move on to post-secondary education, to college and university. And the foundation so far, since its inception, has given out over 200 scholarships, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
In its first year of inception, we gave out a couple, and then I think they were or between 4 and 6 in the first year. This year we're giving out 36 scholarships. So I think that says a lot about the commitment in our community. It also says a lot about our kids.
Sure does.
And when I talk about things that are going well, that has to be one of the things that I would put forward. We have youth that are very inspiring. We have a group of youth that you're going to see later on that really are passionate about this cause and have taken up an advocacy initiative. And these are the kids with a lot of resiliency. So, when kids think of sometimes the kids in our care, there's a few things to remember. The first thing is 90% of the kids we serve are able to live at home with their families. 10% of the kids we serve are in care, and out of that 10%, we've got a ton of kids with a ton of potential, and they're using it. And that I just think that's very inspiring for our staff. The other thing that we have that I'm really proud of is a group of foster parents. We have 275 foster families that open up their homes to these kids and stick with them, even past the age of 18, offering emotional support and bringing kids into the family. So if it wasn't for our foster parents, we wouldn't be able to do the job that we do. Same with our staff. We have a dedicated group of staff that really attached to these kids. It's not great when the state's your parent, but if our workers are really committed to what they're doing.
But it helps when you have those invested, caring people.
Absolutely, and I think everybody needs at least one of those connections in their life to make you know that you're loved and that you're cared for. And ultimately, if it can't be in your family, I feel like we've got a pretty good group of people around us at the agency. Over the last few years, with some of the government funding, we've also had the benefit of a Crown Wardship Education Championship team, which is a partnership with government and educators and the universities and our staff and kids sitting and advising on that to be able to develop educational supports and initiatives to help make that transition for our kids into university much, much easier.
Okay.
And so I think that's very positive. There's also been some changes to OSAP and changes so kids can get reimbursement of application fees for university. So the hopeful thing is that people are identifying the barriers and they're trying to find ways with limited funding and resources to overcome some of the barriers to get our kids in education. Our goal is to make sure that that lasts all the way to the end of their education. That we're doing a lot to get kids into school. We need to do everything we can to make sure that they get to finish school successfully. So I'm very pleased with the local advocacy that has been coming from our youth. And I'm also very pleased to see that our provincial association, who's been working on this issue for a lot of years, starting to get a lot of traction with that advocacy issue, and with the Advocate's Office taking a closer look at it. I think that's helping us quite a bit.
Good. What do you think about the cash incentive here from the government to adopt older kids? And this can be, I think, 10 and older. Is this something that you see being beneficial? I
absolutely do. I think it's really important for people thinking of adopting kids to kind of understand what that is. And I'd just like to put that, the adoption subsidies in a bit of context. Currently in our agency, we may have approximately over 500 kids in care. 258 of those kids are permanently in our care.
Okay.
These are kids that deserve the right to be in a family. Some of these kids will continue to have relationships with their own natural parents through visiting, and some of them don't. But we believe that whether they have a continued relationship with their parent or not,